What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Spies in Disguise. So before I even get into my thoughts on this film, the first thing that I got to talk about is when the trailers were coming out for this film, or just the marketing in general, I remember kind of just thinking it was going to be I really wasn't excited about it. The trailers really didn't do much for me, and the premise and just the overall presentation of the marketing really didn't get me excited to see it. I really didn't even plan on or expect to see this film during its theatrical run at all. And I was actually going to see Jojo Rabbit tonight, but it just didn't work out time-wise. And this was the showtime that actually worked a little bit better for me as far as when I wanted to get back home. So I decided, let's go check it out. I love Will Smith. I like Tom Holland. Let's definitely go check it out. And after having seen the film, I was pleasantly surprised and I enjoyed myself. Now, I think it's important that I say right out of the gate that this is not an incredible film by any stretch of the imagination. This is not one of those animated films that is going to blow your mind or really just be one of those that's for everybody. I think this is just a nice, fun, entertaining animated film that you can kind of just throw on. A film that I feel is going to thrive a lot in different streaming services because it's going to be something that I feel will do a lot better at home where people can kind of just chill and watch it. Now, with that said, there are some really big positives I have about this film, but on an overall level, I did enjoy it. I think that the biggest thing I should just say to you guys is that it's a fun movie. It has a lot of heart and charm. You have really charismatic actors that have great chemistry together, and I really did enjoy their characters' screen time together. But on an overall level, it's a fun movie. It's nothing crazy. I don't think it's something that you need to rush out to theaters to go watch. I don't think it's something that you need to take your kids to go see immediately. But I think if you're a parent and you're kind of just looking for something to watch, or even if you're just a fan of animated films and you have something like AMC A-List and you just kind of want to go check it out, it's harmless. I think this is a nice, fun film. After having gone through a long day at work, both Haley and I really just love the fact that we can kind of just go watch something like this that didn't really take much from our minds or really just ask much of us as audience members. It was just like a nice, fun adventure that you can just kind of sit down and watch and just have a good time with. So like I mentioned, this film stars Will Smith and Tom Holland. And if you have no idea what the premise of this film is, you have this really badass super agent secret spy played by Will Smith, who essentially is just the most badass of all badass. He can do everything he wants to. He can get in and out of a situation, fight hundreds of guys, and really feels no threat throughout any of it. And then you have Tom Holland's character, who is this kind of like dorky, young, weird inventor and scientist who has all these ideas and inventions that are kind of just viewed as dumb or silly or weird. Weird being a really common word that tends to be used around his character. And not too long into the film, Will Smith's character is framed for a crime that he did not commit, and he has to kind of just go on this adventure now to try to prove his innocence, which ends up leading him to Tom Holland's character, who in some sort of vague way kind of tells him that he has some sort of invention that can help him disappear. Will Smith's character believes that this is the way that he'll be able to prove his innocence by him essentially just disappearing, but this invention ends up turning him into a pigeon. Yeah, the premise of this film is very strange. You have this super secret agent who is being turned into a pigeon, and now you have this adventure of this young inventor who's kind of dweeby, kind of weird, and kind of just, making all these really weird inventions that really have no practical use, but to him, he knows how to use them. He has a specific view on how he wants to use these things and get in and out of missions. He does not agree with the violence that the agency and that specifically Will Smith's character condones. And yeah, there's this nice back and forth between both characters. I really did enjoy the chemistry between Tom Holland and Will Smith. And I can imagine that anybody who's a film fan knows that you have two really super likable and charismatic actors together as the main duo of the film. It's hard to dislike them. They do a great job in this film. I thoroughly did enjoy their time on screen together. It's just this weird adventure of this pigeon secret agent and his friend who is an inventor going on this adventure to fight this big bad with a robot hand, and it's just over the top, just ridiculous film that really does not take itself too seriously. There's a lot of heart, there's a lot of charm, but at the same time, it's just kind of a silly watch. This isn't something that really is deep in story or narrative. This isn't something that's really deep in character, but I did really enjoy the character growth between these two characters and their relationship throughout the course of the film. My biggest positive about this film, without a doubt, is the animation. There's a lot of things that harken back to, or at least making winks and nods at things like 007, and I really did enjoy the visual references to a lot of James Bond-esque type of things. On an overall level, a lot of the action was really, really great. I did enjoy the animation style. It's a very pretty looking film. I think we're in such a great time for animated films. We're able to get such beautiful animated films that really just, whether the film sucks or not, you can just have something that's a spectacle to look at. And this film is no different. I think that visually it's really cool. I enjoyed the animation style. I enjoyed a lot of the action specifically that actually felt very different compared to a a lot of the animation throughout the film. A lot of the action sequences were just really intense and were shot really well, you know, for animation. You know, it's weird to say shot for animation because they don't shoot anything, but it was really, really awesome to see how it was all animated, and the action sequences were really, really well paced, and I found myself really engaged in those sequences. And I kind of felt like that the entire film. Here you have this film that in a lot of ways can be generic, predictable, and isn't necessarily groundbreaking or really mind-blowing, but it's just like a fun just ride, you know what I mean? It's nothing that you really have to think much on. I think this is not a movie that you need to run to theaters to go see, like I mentioned. This is something that kind of just watch on a streaming service, and if you have a chance with AMC A-List or something else like that, definitely go check it out. It's nothing crazy. I think the best thing about this is Will Smith and Tom Holland, the animation, and a lot of the other cast members that you'll find in here. You do have random cast members in here like DJ Khalid, who I found pretty humorous. A lot of the humor in the film is either going to be hit or miss. I found myself at least chuckling, smiling, or smirking at majority of the humor. Some of it kind of was just okay and I'll just let it pass without laughing. But for the most part, I enjoyed myself. The villain is kind of generic. It's kind of a typical bad guy that you've seen in a lot of these animated films that wants to do a bad thing because he has something in the past that made him a bad guy, and that's just pretty much why he's a bad guy. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be my thoughts on Spies in Disguise. This isn't a film I have too much to say about other than kind of repeating the same things. Fun animation, cool charismatic actors, nothing crazy narratively. You've seen it before other than the pigeon part, but as far as the general core of the story and these characters, you know, you've seen this kind of story before. I did enjoy it though. I do recommend it. I don't think I'd recommend running to theaters to go see it if you only have so much money. Maybe you're wondering if you should take your family to go see this as the one movie you guys get to see this month or whatever it is. I understand that that's definitely an issue for a lot of people, so I would definitely not recommend going to see it in theaters because I don't think it's a movie that you just need to see on the big screen. But I think whenever it comes out on some sort of streaming service, you should definitely check it out. If you guys have seen it, leave your comments down below. Did you like this movie? Did you not like this movie? Definitely want to hear your thoughts on it. I really appreciate all of you guys who watched. I hope you guys enjoyed this movie as much as I did. You know, nothing crazy, but a good fun watch that has some really good charismatic actors and some great animation. And I will see all of you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.